Hey guys, it's Kevin again. First of all, I want to apologize. I know it's been a while since I've done one of these. There's a couple of reasons for that actually. Number one reason, I really, if it's not from God, I don't want to put it out there. And I just realized recently that some of the things, believe it or not, that God reveals to me are meant for me, and not for you guys. It's for my benefit, and so that I can grow, so that I can, uh, just addressing my faults and addressing the things that I have trouble with, and there are quite a few of those, believe it or not. Um, so anyway, I just wanted to be absolutely sure that that I was supposed to put things out there, and it's been hard for me to differentiate that recently. So I want to, like I said, apologize, and also kind of give you a little explanation why. Um, I just want everything that is said on this channel to be directly from God, and I don't want to put any of me into it because me is very fallible and God is not. Um, but I believe that this is kind of the subject I wanted to speak about today is forgiveness. And forgiveness is something that goes for me as well as everybody else. Um, we all know that God is all forgiving. I mean, it don't matter, as God loves you. Forgiveness, whenever you love somebody, you got to be willing to forgive them. I mean, whether what they did bad is real or perceived. Um, as I've actually had to, God made me one time forgive him. I was like, God, you're infallible. There's no way that that you did anything wrong. He said, no, but you think that I did. So it's a very very slippery slope to get into, because like I said, we all know. And please do not even for a second think that I think that God has done me wrong in any way, because He has not. But forgiveness is such a healing thing. It literally, um, it, it is so healing. If you're angry with someone, which we all have been guilty of this, whether, like I said, from a real or perceived, uh, action. If you're angry with someone, you're not hurting anyone but yourself. I mean, even if it is hurting them in certain ways, you can do whatever. You could, if you're in a position to hurt them financially, if you're in a position to hurt them, in whatever way. Um, there's many many ways that where we could actually hurt somebody. But let me tell you something. Anger and, well, let me start by saying this. Anger, I don't believe, is a real emotion anyway. It's a reaction to another emotion. I believe I've said this before. Anger is a reaction generally to fear. Um, so uh, if you're angry, then the best thing to do, which what I do, or at least the best thing I know to do, is to look inside yourself and see maybe what it is that you're afraid of. It could be many things. You could be afraid of, I don't know, of losing someone. You could be afraid of, that you were in the wrong. You could be afraid uh, that maybe you pushed it a little bit too far, and that only makes you angrier. I've been there. I've done that many times. Um, it, fear of being being wrong. That's a bad one. It literally and I don't understand why, really, because you know what? Every one of us are wrong at one point in time or another. Um, there's nothing to be ashamed of. If you're wrong, you're wrong. The only thing that you should be ashamed of is if you do not take responsibility and for being wrong, and look at yourself and say, hey, You know, what part did I play in this? What if you're in an argument with someone? What part did I play in this argument? And how can I do something to fix it? You know, to bring the other person down, off of their anger trip. So anyway, when you don't forgive someone, when you either believe that they have done wrong or they may have even done wrong, the person that you're hurting the most is yourself. You can carry anger, you can carry hate a long way, but I'm going to tell you that's a heavy burden to carry. It really is. It does things to you not only mentally. I believe that it has its physical, detriments as well. Um, it can stress you out, make you want to eat more, make you not want to eat at all. It raises your heart rate, raises your blood pressure. It does all sorts of things. So I believe deeply that in the past, the anger that I held on to just was horrible to me, for me. And, half of the people that I was angry at didn't even know that I was mad at them. So, I mean, some of them did, because, of course, if I, saw this person, and I've never been one to keep things to myself. So I've literally, cussed people out, threw punches, many reactions to this anger that I've done. But like I said, it was usually a reaction to a fear that I had, a fear that someone would see me as weak. Oh, that was a big one too. Whenever I was young, I didn't want anybody to think of me as weak. That they could, because of my small stature at the time, that they could just walk all over me. That was a fear, and because of that fear, I got angry many times, and it caused nothing but problems. The fear that you don't add up, the fear that you're emotionally small, and that you can't, that maybe you're afraid you're going to lose somebody because you don't believe that you're worthy of them. And then what do? You turn around and make yourself not worthy of them, and just do a whole bunch of things wrong. Or at least, like I said, just not, when I say you, I don't mean you people. I'm saying from my point of view and the things that I've done and the things that have, well, just the things that I've done. But like I said, fear is generally what makes you angry. And even if somebody did slight you in some way, as I also said, anger at this person is, you're not going to hurt them near as much as you're going to hurt yourself. Number one, it hurts you mentally. You can stress over it. You can throw it around in your mind, and man, I've spent many nights couldn't sleep because I was thinking about how I was going to get back at so and so for doing whatever, or even get back at so and so for thinking that that they could just whoop me, or get just so many things, so many insecurities. And that is why I feel very confident about this, whatever you want to call it, podcast, video, whatever, because I have absolutely been in every, just that I can think of, every single situation that you might find yourself in. That is why I feel like I can talk about this stuff, because I've been there. Not forgiving someone for something that they do, especially someone who is, I can't even think of the word, especially someone who feels bad about what they've done. And there's really nothing unforgivable. I mean, Bible says only unforgivable thing is that God will not forgive you for is blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. I do not know what that is, but I really think that if it's unforgivable, that God would let us know before we did it. Um, I don't think that, if you, I don't think you could do it subconsciously or anything like that, because God wouldn't do that. He wouldn't hold our subconscious against us. That's just not God. He's our dad. Um, so anyway, everything else is forgivable. Every single thing in the world, in the universe that you can conceive is forgivable. Um, if you have a reticent heart, if you have a penitent heart, if you have a heart that's where you truly feel bad about what you've done, um, and ask forgiveness for it, then God will absolutely forgive you. There's no questions asked. Literally to the point of He takes that sin and casts it as far as the east is from the west into the sea of forgetfulness, and he don't even think about it anymore. You'd come back to Him later and say, "Hey God, I'm sorry about this thing that I've already apologized for," and He'd be like, "What are you talking about? I don't remember that." And I think that's wonderful that He can do that. And thing is, God knows that unforgiveness, that anger, that holding a grudge is so bad for us. I think that's why He harps on it so much in the Bible, because He knows it's bad for us. Like I said, you're not hurting the person that you're angry at as much as you're hurting yourself, no matter what it is. That's even someone who's truly evil. I don't believe that it's right to get angry at them. More pity them, because they're doing things that literally they're destroying themselves through hate. And this is hard for me to fathom, even though I've been there myself and done things that some people might call evil. Uh, it was just truly not a state that I like to live in. And whenever this message got through to me, that's when my life truly started to change. Forgiveness of everything. You forgive people. That's what is it? The Bible says 70 times, 7 times in a day you're supposed to forgive someone for the same sin. That's a lot. Huh. Somebody asked Jesus that, actually, and that was His answer: 70 times 7. I can't do math that quick, but I just know there's a lot. It's more than there are hours in a day. I can tell you that. It's probably more than there are minutes a day. I know it's more than there are minutes that you're awake during the day. So, somebody would have to pretty much do it every single minute. And if somebody wants to check my math, then that's fine, because you could absolutely probably prove me wrong. But this, in my mind, this is the way that I'm thinking. So anyway, forgiveness is, man, it's so good for you. It's something that will change your life. There have been many people in the past that I held grudges. Oh man, I was a stickler for grudges too. Nobody was going to get away with anything when it came to me, because, well, that's where pride came in. Pride is also not good. And it causes a lot of the anger situations, and it causes a lot of the, holding the grudge. It's a pride thing. I used to really care about what people thought of me, and I mean, I still do. There's no way to get around that. You can't get around it. You're going to care what, some people think of you, whatever. And this brings me right back around to, and y'all are either going to laugh or just turn this off and never listen to me again. My basic philosophy is, everybody can kiss it. Unless I care about them, or unless I care about, that's, and that doesn't mean exactly what it sounds like it means. It's just that is the way that I think of it. People that I don't know or don't know very well or whatever, they can do, think, act any way that they want to, and I don't. I for the most part, I do not care, because it's the only thing that matters, and the only thing that I can do anything about is my reaction and my what I do. So I just try to treat everyone like they, and this may be a pride thing, try to treat everyone like they know less than I do about this particular thing, about, getting, trying to better yourself or whatever. And sometimes that's the only way that I can not get angry at people. God told me a long time ago, well, actually, I asked God a long time ago, I said, look, help me to not get angry so much. And he said to me, well, what he did for me was he gave me empathy. And pretty much over my lifetime has put me in the situation that every single person that is ever going to try to anger me or piss me off, he's put me in their situation. So now it is so much harder to get angry. The only thing pretty much that I have left to be angry about is being angry because I can't get angry at the person, because I know where they're coming from, and that will piss you off some. So whenever I did that, it was the whole empathy thing. And when you try to look at something from someone else's point of view, then you understand. But back to the forgiveness thing, it ties in. Trust me, just bear with me for a second. You can forgive someone a whole lot easier if you try to put yourself in their situation. Try to remember situations where you have been in a similar situation, where you might have said or done the same thing that they have. Maybe in my case, most of the time, I would have done worse than the person who I should be angry at right now, because they, called me a name, or cut me off in traffic, or whatever. There's so many scenarios. I have been in it. I mean, you don't know what that person is going through, or if you do, then the best thing to do is just put yourself in that position, put yourself in that situation, and think, okay, and be honest with yourself. What would I have really done, or what have I done in the past because I was in a similar situation? What have I said in the past to people? What have I done in the past to people? What have I done? Makes it a whole lot easier to forgive someone. And oh, the thing that I hate the worst in the world, well, at least I've never. So many people say that, and I'm going to tell you that folks, that is nothing in the world but pride. Yeah, maybe at least you've never done this. Maybe at least you've never, I don't know, let's go way overboard here and say, at least I've never killed anyone. Or, I mean, there's so many things. But really, that's kind of a cop out, because it's a pride thing. You're taking pride in the fact that you've never done what this person has done, and that's wrong. That's I've done this. I've done it many times. At least I've never blank. At least I've never hit a woman. At least I've never held somebody up at gunpoint. At least I've never, just the list is endless. It's God showed me that's not the way that we should think about things. It's a form of pride, and believe me, whenever that pride gets a hold of you like that, well, at least I've never. God may allow you to be put into situations where, hey, guess what? You did. It's you cannot think that you would never do a thing that you would never. I'm sorry, and I may lose people over this, and that's fine, because I got to say what God wants me to say. At least I've never is not an excuse. At least I've never is not a reason for anything, because maybe you haven't been put into that certain situation, or maybe the dice hadn't rolled that way, or it just sounds to me, it seems to me, like whenever you say, well, at least I've never, that it's such a prideful thing to say that, and to actually use that as an excuse to, for the things that you're doing. No. Number one, okay, and this is absolutely going to go a little longer than the other ones, and I apologize. You can cut it in half if you want and do it in 2 viewings or 5 viewings, 12 viewings, 20 viewings. Watch it a minute at a time. I don't care. Yeah, like I said, if you watch it, you watch it. Watch it. Was at least I've never is just it. It's a pride thing. It's man, I just wish I could use that to cover up your own things that you've done. See, here's the deal, and this is what I was saying a while ago, and it just came back to my mind. It doesn't matter what anyone else does, and that is the whole part of the everybody else can kiss it thing. It doesn't matter what anybody else does. You don't compare yourself to other people. You can't compare yourself to other people. You go crazy. Facebook is just absolutely famous for this. Everybody comparing themselves to another person. Number one, a lot of those people are lying or, deceiving in different ways. And it doesn't matter if they are or if they're not. If you see somebody that is doing well in a certain area, maybe they put it on Facebook not to say, hey, I'm better than everybody else, or maybe they're not bragging about this thing because they're better than everybody else. It's like, oh, look, I finally did it, man. I beat this thing that is been a problem for me my whole life. Maybe it, and you should be glad for this person. They put on let's say if I got a horse, because I really would love to have a horse, and I would probably put it on Facebook and go, wow, look what I got. And it wouldn't make anybody jealous. It would be because that's something that I've wanted for a long time and haven't had since I was a child. And I would just be so happy about it. And that's the way I try to look at it whenever people brag on things. You know what? Maybe they're just super happy about it. And guess what? If I'm a friend of this person, or if I even know this person, if I'm a brother or sister to this person, which I am to every single human being in the world, I should be happy for them. It's hard to do sometimes because we tend to compare ourselves to other people quite often. Well, they've got this and they've got that and they've got, I used to do the same thing. Well, this person's got all the money. Never had much myself, but guess what I have had? Love. Not just from God, but my family, my friends, who I consider family, my children, my fiance. There's just, and those people with money would probably give every penny that they've got to have the things that I have. So I just try to be happy for people whenever they accomplish something with anything. If anybody accomplishes anything, let me tell you, people, I'm happy for you. And that's not just me saying it. I truly am. I want to rejoice with you and not be jealous. And that's something and I'm tearing up a little bit. Something that I've really struggled with in the past. And that brings us full circle to the whole forgiveness thing. You have to forgive people. You have to, for your own sake. It's a selfish thing. Forgive people for your own sake. Believe me, you will sleep better at night. you will, God will be so happy for you that He will bless you in many, many ways. That's when my true blessings started, is whenever I started actually forgiving people. And here's the big one: forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself. Everybody makes stupid mistakes. Everybody does stupid things. Everybody does things that they wish that they had not done. That the second that they do it, they're like, well, me. Okay, I'll use me. Second that I do something like that, I'm like, boy, if I can only take that back. Well, guess what? You can't take it back. What you can do is forgive yourself for it, learn from it, and move on. Um, if God's not going to hold it against me for anything that I've done, then who in the world am I to hold it against me? That is pretty much the sum total of everything that I've said. If God doesn't hold it against another person, what they've done to you, then who are you to hold it against them? And mainly, if God doesn't hold what you've done against you, then do not hold what you've done against you. Don't do it. It only hurts you. Unforgiveness, holding a grudge, is evil and it's toxic. It's like a cancer. And it will destroy you. If it doesn't destroy your life, it will destroy other parts of you. It's destructive and it's awful and it's evil. So anyway, said what I was trying to say, and like I said, it's pretty long, and I appreciate anyone who sat here and listened to me. And I truly wish all of you blessings, and I wish you the peace that forgiveness brings. And I appreciate it, and I will make another one of these soon. Thank you. I love you all.